Cool. So I actually shared this back in, I compiled it back in 2019 based on stuff that we'd been doing over the years and presented it in Vancouver, which Stephen was at as well, which was an incredible event. But the key thing about this was we actually did start this in August. And every year I talk about how you have to be prepared. And I know we're now 2 weeks off from Black Friday. There's still a lot we can do. But, just I do reiterate it every year. Not everyone listens. You do need to prepare July, August time to be clear on what you're actually going to be doing ahead of Black Friday as well. And the 9 things that I focus on cover these. And these are more primers for the conversation today, and also to get people on that are listening, thinking about where you could be working as well. Now, first of all, the first thing is making sure, and this, especially from a freelancer and an ad agency point of view, I feel like we have a responsibility to work with our clients on these things, but maybe a lot of people don't have experience of these things. Now, there are a couple of people on the call that have run their own e-commerce stores, as I have as well, and you kind of understand it from a different perspective. Imagine scaling in Black Friday and running out of stock. Like, it's absolutely the worst thing to do. Imagine doing it in September and October and actually scaling and running out of stock before Black Friday. I've seen it happen. So like, the very first thing you should have locked down is to make sure you have enough stock and you've got all the logistics sorted out. But even as we lead into Black Friday, if you're thinking about running a campaign, and I've seen this as well, where a client spent months thinking about running a campaign, but the bundle offer that they've come up with, this amazing thing that they're going to crush Black Friday with, they find out that this particular product's now out of stock. Well, guess what? Your bundle's now no longer sellable, and you're kind of screwed. So there's so many things to do in the back end to make sure you're ready to be able to sell and be able to scale up and deliver as well. The second one is, and you can still work on this, is work on bottom-up improvements. And that means working from the bottom up in terms of your funnel. So when I talk about bottom up, I'm talking about customers all the way through to your website, through to acquisition. So if you're looking at the way I look at funnels, 4-funnel system, you have cold audiences, warm audiences, hot audiences that are pre-sale, and then you have the fourth layer, which is customers. You should be optimizing that fourth layer as a priority, because that's literally the lowest hanging fruit you have. If you've got a store, that is. So if you've got a store, you've made some sales, then email marketing, SMS marketing, messenger marketing, any touch points you've got with existing customers, you should be optimizing that as much as possible before working up. And then you work up to cross sales, upsells, landing pages, cart funnel, everything like that comes after. Then you start to optimize your Facebook ads and where you run your ads. That's the way I do it, because the more work you do then, that's something I'll be pushing back to the panel members as well, is like, you're going to get so much more benefit in the short term and the long term as well. So that's just something which you can still do now, but it's something you should also be preparing ahead as well. And then the third part is platform signals. So Facebook wants quality, Facebook wants engagement, they want people to stay on Facebook. There are certain things you can do there as well. So even, for example, just ahead of this call, I don't think I can... Can you see this screen? It's the AI tool. Yes, no?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yes. Cool. So the AI tool, which I've uploaded lots of my stuff into, actually, I asked it the question before I came on the call as well. It's 2 weeks before Black Friday. What else can I do to get this results? It's reminded me of stuff that I'd forgotten as well, because obviously AI doesn't forget. This one here in particular, use an account with good history and spend behind it. That relates to this point here, which is if you're going to launch something, make sure there's good history behind it from an ad platform point of view. So if you think about your ad account, the longer it's been running, the better. The more the more payments you've actually made on time, the better. The more quality ad signals on your ads and things. There's so many things you can do to prime up your ads before Black Friday, and there's still an opportunity to do that as well. Number 4 is creative diversity. I know that Stephen in particular has talked a lot about that. And when we talked in Vancouver, it was one of the biggest things that people took away, is the way you can kind of create multiple content angles and things based on the creatives you have. And that's so important, not just in terms of leading into Black Friday, but let's say the best case scenario happens and you end up 10x in your ad spend, you are going to burn through creatives fairly fast as well. So you have to be prepared in advance. Content strategy, again, this is something which I would start off September, October, and then start to see the fruits come to play in November, is content strategy plays a huge part, not just in terms of priming audiences and building, retargeting lists, but also lowers your CPMs, because the more content and data you're giving to Facebook, the more engagement you're getting. In some cases, when I've spoken to clients, they're like, yeah, we're doing all this stuff in September, we're not generating sales, but it pays back later on. And this is just something which content does take a bit longer, but it pays back massively as well. Number 6, and I'd be keen to get some insights, especially from the panel members that are working with clients, is thinking about other channels that can work for you right now. So I think the craziest scaling I did was in 2015, and we were spending 250K a day on ads. And the majority was on Facebook, but we're also running TV ads. We're doing paid search, Pinterest. We're just testing everything out. And, you do get to a point where you want to make sure you're present where your customers are. And that's an important thing. Where does your product lie, and where can your customers potentially reach you? And then audience investment, so build the thirst. That's related to this. So 2 weeks out, for example, before Black Friday, one of the things that we often do is a week before Friday, we'll go to our email list, and also people that have engaged, with the site or the page and maybe not converted, and give them access to a VIP Black Friday campaign. So you want to give them something that, will be available before. For example, one of the biggest days that we've crushed is actually the Thursday before Black Friday. And we do that with our VIP lists. So email, we want to collect as many emails as possible from prospects and also from existing customers, and give them access to something on the Thursday, especially if it's stock related and there's limited stock. You can crush it. Now, Thursday, for example, in the US is Thanksgiving, and people on Thanksgiving, just like on Christmas, by the late evening are getting bored. They're on social media, they're browsing and stuff like that. And if you time your email campaign just right for that evening time, and bear in mind there's different times in the US, you can crush those campaigns as well. So that's just a tip there. And then going into account stability, this may sound obvious, but you need to make sure your account stays available. So that's making sure even funding. So if you're paying for your ads through credit card, there's credit limits, things like that, make sure that's all put in place in advance. So you're not going to hit your credit caps and, your credit card's going to max out and things like that. They sounds minor, but they can go wrong. And keep an eye on ad disapprovals and things like that. Clear them as fast as possible to avoid any issues. And then comes scaling. So, when I do speak to a lot of people, they're like, hey, we want to scale for Black Friday. I'm like, have you actually done the things you need to do as well? So again, that's something I'm keen to push back to the panel members as well, to see what they're doing ahead of Black Friday. And then we'll talk about the different scaling strategies as well as we get into the discussions on that as well. So a question for Mr. Dee Deng, because I know that you're of e-commerce stores right now, and probably more than us four as well. Where are you at right now with your kind of planning? So you just mentioned you come out your workshop. So we're 2 weeks out of Black Friday. Where are you at right now? What's the kind of main focus for you?
The main focus right now would be a lot on the prospecting and list building to be able to get to that retention play, bring everyone into the VIP lists as well as the flows. A lot of FOMO building, because the one thing that we know as a fact is Black Friday is a really noisy time for every consumer, right? So essentially, they're going to get hit up, like all their inboxes and all their phones are going to be just off the hook busy with, you should buy from us and you should buy this offer, that, and the other. So all the prep work would have been done from now. And if you ask me, what did we do for the past 2 months? It was literally like nag clients to go, are the offers ready? Have we, let's check off with our rep to make sure that ad account spend limits and credit card limits are all set in place, etc. And having all the creative that's ready for those offers too. The big piece, because we have a retention team as well, a big piece is that email play. And this lead up now has everything to do with building up the hype, building up the FOMO, like you were saying, building up that thirst to whenever the clients some of them like to do it early. Our stance is usually to go, and like in Australia, some of them want to do like a week early, right? But our stance is usually to go do it as close to Black Friday as possible, because from our standpoint, the consumer will always go, wait, if they're doing it this early, then they might have something that they're not telling us yet for Black Friday, so we might not spend as much here. And if your brand doesn't actually have something locked and loaded bigger for Black Friday, then you might have actually lost that consumer.
Yeah. In terms of, one of the things in the UK, and Jackie, you'll know this as well, is everyone's waiting to jump on the Black Friday bandwagon, and generally just after Halloween is when people start to talk about it. I'm not in the UK right now, Jackie, so I don't know what's happening with Black Friday offers and usually it's John Lewis that leads the kind of way and everyone else follows. What's actually happening right now? What are you seeing?
Do you know what? Maybe it's just my perspective. It feels pretty quiet. It feels pretty quiet. Doesn't feel, I think in previous years, I felt, Jesus Christ, when is this going to be over? Like I've kind of, because it's like the lead up, as Deng was saying, is just, as Dee was saying, it's just so long that you're like, okay. And so you get kind of bored and done with it. I've not felt that this year. Don't know whether that's just maybe I've been in a dark black hole, but yeah, it's not felt as energetic as it has in previous years. But then there's a lot of stores that I think are also really struggling here in the UK. Like some big kind of like fashion stores are really struggling right now. So, I mean, I went on a store, a fashion store. I think it was about 2 weeks ago, and already they had a banner, Black Friday pricing. And I'm like, I don't think it was even before Halloween. And I was like, okay, well, this is just daft. And so, again, the psychology of that for me as a consumer is I start to think, well, am I getting the best deal now? Are you going to drop something even better before? Should I hold off? What am I doing? Should I just add to cart and then just wait? Or like what? I get confused, and to be honest, there's too much decision fatigue, and so I actually bombed out because I was like, do you know what? I can't be bothered to work this out because I just haven't got time for this. So that's kind of how it's felt here a little bit, but maybe other Brits watching this might be like, no, I've been badgered by emails and ads today. But
so on that hook, email, I want to ask Israa, like, how do you handle the kind of pre-Black Friday conversation with clients and kind of thinking about when to start offers and promotions, and then we'll get Stephen's feedback on that as well.
So I mean, I typically, because a lot of clients that come through don't really have, I think Dee touched on this, they wait till the last minute to really have like a definite answer for you.
Yeah.
And instead of focusing on what they're gonna give me, I actually go back and I use September and October as a re-education month. So I will create an entire calendar content of re-educating our audience and our, the newer people coming in, the VIPs, on what our products are actually in the store. Because sometimes you have like 2 to 3 products that everybody's buying on the store and everything else is like neglected. So we kind of bring those products back into like the spotlight and explain what they do for you. It builds up that engagement, it builds up that curiosity. And then we sometimes, push into like a group or a live where we engage, straight up with our audience, because it helps us understand what they're looking for. So instead of focusing on like building the promos out, because sometimes as service providers, we don't have control over it. And sometimes, even the client might not be able to get the products in on time, or it's delayed or whatever it is. I focus on what I can control, and that is to tell you what our store does, what our business does for you, so that when we're ready to prime them for the offers, people already know what is included in the offer, like what type of product, what can these products do for me. So focus a lot on that. And I also focus on list building through lead generation. So we do a lot of, giveaways where it's not just like sign up and, you'll win something. It's more of like, we do like a weekly giveaway, sign up to this list, a winner every week. And then we take those winners and we actually feature them with their testimonials to build, again, before Black Friday comes through, to build on that hype for newer members that are in the giveaway, that, because most of the time giveaways have a lower quality. So you have to figure out how to get people hooked. And that is really just seeing other subscribers and customers, actually winning, actually getting your product, actually liking your products to bring them back in. So those are the two I really hyper focus on. And then once November hits, it's like, okay, we got to figure out what's going on here with your promotion. Like we got to list it out. But I don't, most of the time, like you said, people will do like an early Black Friday, but unless you have something very unique, people are still going to buy on that Black Friday more. So I'd rather build the hype and wait till that day than, you know, fizzle it out. So we'll do some type of promotions leading up to it, but the big promotion will come on that Black Friday.
Cool. Stephen, over to you.
I'm relatively similar to what Israa said, where I build hype leading into Black Friday. And what I've done with my own stores and for all of the clients I work with their stores and businesses, I templated emails. I just said, here it is. This is what the objective is. This is the fill in the blank. Anything that's a fill in the blank or a caps, change it, make it yours. This is the one you send out the first week of November. And it's kind of like what I've done each week is you build the hype in their mind just as part of your regular newsletter. So I tell them, hey, I'm planning something. Here's a little behind the scenes. Here's why I'm excited and why it should matter to you. That was first week. That was this last week after the week of Halloween. This week, yesterday, I gave some details as to what the offer is going to be. I've scheduled a live stream because when people can touch someone, just like this panel right now, when we see faces, people like to buy from people. And it makes you more trustworthy versus being just another corporate email in their inbox or another advertisement on their feed for Black Friday. So if you give them someone to touch, you build up that little bit of relationship affinity. The other thing is, out of that live stream, can I make a few little videos and start saying, okay, where are they as far as like being one step away from buying? What are 5 common objections they may have? Or what are 5 things on their task list that they're going to need to do, or that my product or offer that's coming might help? And guess what? Those are all going to go up on Facebook ads for like $5 a day for 10 days. Individual little simple videos just to build things in people's mind. And all of those ads lead to either a lead magnet or a micro offer. That way I can build a hot list and that I know they're already primed up for that main Black Friday offer. Next week, here's a short list of items. I'm highlighting the problems they solve. Week of the 20th, here's a reminder about the sale. Show some hype, start the sale. Morning of, morning, late afternoon, evening. What are you going to do? Because it's all noise. So by being able to double down on my email list and really segmenting the people that have shown higher intent, that really helps. And hitting them with reminders, but it's not product blasting them on Facebook. And that helps to lower the CPMs, like you said earlier, Deepesh. A couple of other little things that I like to do that are just different. I've noticed with a lot of the other store owners that I work with that they'll have like a main offer, but that's all they have. And it's like, we need to put some little sidekicks around this superhero right here if you really hope to survive. And or I've seen with the way that everybody's worried about the economy, a lot of lower ticket little things to lead people in are starting to help. Really easy to do that. And then another thing, if you're a service provider or you have a community or you sell a course or something of that variety, people are going to be zapped on Black Friday. Here in the US, it's Thanksgiving. We're all going to be full. We're waiting around. I've had enough time with the family. Get me away from them. Why not host a workshop? And then anybody that's part of the workshop, everybody that attends, tell them. One of the things, one of your micro offers, front end offers, whatever it is, as a service provider, say, hey, anybody who attends the workshop, out of these 5 things that we've had, low ticket lead magnets, why not offer one of those for free to all the attendees? Thank you for being part of my Black Friday. And then guess what? You have them in a cycle so that if they had limited budget to do the things they wanted to do for themselves and their family for Black Friday, but they're not on your big ticket yet, you can say, okay, you were part of this for Black Friday. You were technically part of my world for Black Friday. You attended. You might have gotten a little front end offer. Now I've given them a snack and they like how it tastes. Why can't I give them exclusively the Black Friday offer within 14 days and say, hey, do you want to jump on the high ticket deal? Easy win for service providers to do something different, because people are going to be taxed and say, hey, I would really like something that would advance this part of my life too. Easy win there.
So here's a question, because I think we cover both sides of this. Is Black Friday works for products, but it also works for services as well. I don't know if anyone wants to jump in, but give some ideas and thoughts on whether it's your own offer, because like I think we're all offering our own services as well as helping clients with products and services. Yeah. Where do you guys fall on that?
As far as a Black Friday deal?
Yeah, so like I've heard some service providers saying, oh, I don't want to do Black Friday and stuff. And my view is you either play the game or you don't. If you don't, you sit on the stands and watch. If you do play the game, there's money to be had.
I think a lot of service providers are trying to figure out how to make a Black Friday offer without discounting their services.
And cannibalizing other offers, and also not pissing off their current customers, because that's the other thing they have to consider is, if I buy some makeup and then I miss out the Black Friday, I'm not really that bothered. But if I've already invested X hundreds or thousands in a course and then they discount it, 2 weeks later, I'm like, well, you could have given me the heads up. So there is this balance to find. One thing I will actually interject here that someone actually said to me earlier this week, which I thought was really smart, that she's an ads manager and she's working with her client. Her client is a course creator. They are running a Black Friday promotion, but the actual course doesn't start till January. So it's like you buy it now and we're going to stack it with as many people as we possibly can so that we'll start it on January. And I thought that's really smart. That's really, really smart. Yeah. And they are killing it. They are like, they had this goal and they're already already got this goal before Black Friday. So they're doing really well. And I thought that's a good way to do it.
Yeah.
One thing about service providers, what I've noticed for my services is that most of them, I have an influx of clients after Black Friday. And the reason is because that promotion fell so flat and they couldn't handle it, that we kind of play on the whole, like, were you disappointed kind of thing. We can help you make next year better. So more people will come in. By that time, the next Black Friday comes around, they're very set that, they're not going to make the mistakes of the year before. So typically the promotion happens in December and it's still a promotional period. And I think it's more lucrative for service providers because the e-commerce world and the D2C are looking for service providers that can make their businesses better after analyzing, their biggest season. So it's not really about like Black Friday being the big sale for you or, the big money maker for you or client, bringing in the clients. Just thinking about what client do you really want and when is the best time to really catch them. And I've always found it to be the December, January timeframe. So
smart. So sorry.
So one thing Dee mentioned is FOMO. Just to explain, that's fear of missing out. Just in case anyone hasn't heard of that before.
And in case you're 80 years old.
Yeah, well, who knows? And Israa, you mentioned giveaways as well. Keen to know if anyone's actually run successful giveaways and how you work with your products or services around that. In terms of your giveaway starts with lead gen and then finishes with some kind of payload, which is an offer and revenue coming in. What have you seen work in that respect?
Speaking from experience, I've done this with several clients, and we've found a good success a conversion between a 2 to 10% of giveaway signups before the actual promotion happening. So we'd run it, like I said, I don't just run it where we're collecting, sign up, you might win something. It's sign up, we will announce a winner each week. We'll do like a 4 to 6 week out. We will give away our top product to a person, we'll feature them, and then we will ask them, once we ship it out, we ask them for a review that goes up in our emails in the next winner announcement, and so on and so forth. So it's building up that hype for the rest of the giveaway signups that haven't won yet. And then at the end of the giveaway, before we actually do the promotion, we send out an email thanking everybody for participating, giving them a special offer to actually buy before, like a VIP offer for the giveaway signups. And that converts really well. But also, we also have a nurture sequence. So somebody signs up for a giveaway, we welcome them, we introduce ourselves, we tell them who we are, and they get that weekly email of announcing who the winner is, you know, and the testimonial aspect, the UGC part. And it works really well. You know, the conversions before the promotions, and we have seen it, you know, 20, 30% conversion on those giveaway lists at the promotional time. And then, you know, we follow them for like a retention period to see how long it lasts. But if you have, and it's not just Black Friday, if you have big promotional periods throughout the year, this is a great way to like build a list, a quality list, or at least carve out the quality out of that list without compromising your list, you know, size and quality and engagement and deliverability. So we do it. It takes a little bit of work. Not everybody likes it, but it works really well. The other one that people do is Black Friday sign up. You can win your, like it's a tiered winners. So like for say Black Friday, I've seen it done on a popular DTC brand last year. They said to sign up for and win your purchase, your Black Friday purchase 100% off. And they gave like 3 winners. And then the next winner was, I think like 6 winners got 75% off, and then 50% off and so on. They did a case study and they collected like 40,000 emails leading up to that Black Friday within 2 weeks. And I'm pretty sure there was a budget behind it. But you have to think long term, like how do you monetize them? How do you nurture them? That they're not just signing up for a freebie. They're signing up with, you know, and you are getting that interest out of them, or at least carving out, again, that segment of people who are truly interested to convert them later on. So there's different ways you can do it. It does take a little bit of setup and work, but if you're looking to grow, this is one of the best ways to grow, especially through email, while building like a quality email list. So,
and you know, for me, a giveaway is just like doing a launch. It's just a mini launch. And Dee, I know you've had some big successes with client launches. I don't know if it was you or Scott that posted it. Just talk me through what you're looking at for a kind of launch or giveaway kind of thing.
Yeah, so I guess our what we're known for in the market is for that one like $1.4 million made in 15 minutes or something like that. So we then started to really fold that into our product, and we tend to call it a product drop, especially if we're working with a lot of fashion brands. Every season they're dropping new product, right? So how do we ensure a successful drop each time? I think dropping outside of Black Friday is one thing, or launching out of Black Friday is one thing. Launching during Black Friday has the same principles with a bit of nuance and finesse. So the nuance and finesse, if we want to stick to Black Friday for a bit, is essentially the way that we compel our brand owners to think about the FOMO leading up to Black Friday is how do you put the message? How do you craft your offers and your product, your bundling and your messaging so that you can have a but wait, there's more announcement in the days leading up to Black Friday. So it's not a reminder or a different piece of creative, but talking about the same thing. It's to go, if you join on Black Friday, every 3 days, we're going to tell you what's included in our Black Friday. So we have one brand, for example, right now that for certain items on their store, it's going to be 50% off. A certain different type of item, it's going to be 60% off. And then, so you can go one campaign and have the creative show what items are going to be different percentage off. Or you can say, join our VIP list. And each day it's going to come out with a different, you're going to get, but wait, there's more, but wait, there's more. And you're really building up that tension. And then we throw in all the tactical stuff like, you know, add to calendar campaigns and all the different other, ooh, look at that little thumb. All the different other.
Where did that come from?
I have no idea. I think it might just because I'm on my phone. But all those different offers and angles and positioning. So you're revealing more as it leads up to Black Friday. So that's one thing. Another thing also is with Summer for Brands, and we love buying. I think to Steven's point, we love buying buyers, not just creating a list as much as possible when we can. So we ran a test with to prove the we want to buy buyers hypothesis, and we had one brand that we just did an LTV study and we did a cohort analysis study and went, wait a second, we actually have enough CAC, cost per customer, to have a crazy offer on the front. Buy a pair of jeans for $5, right? And usually the jeans are higher AOV for a pair of jeans, but buy it for $5 to build that list, right? And it's a join our VIP list and get this pair of jeans for $5. A few one-time offers and one-click upsells in the back end, but almost doesn't matter. The point being, we are now collecting people who not only like our product enough to want to buy it, but then also are actually willing to open their wallets to buy it rather than get a chance of getting something for free. So we play around with different permutations because we work across so many different brands with so many different, I guess, brand philosophies around how they want to position it. But a lot of the product launch has to do with that compelling offer at the front for people to come. We're just trying to flood the email list as much as possible. And I mean, and it really depends on the brand owner. We have some brand owners that are as ballsy enough to try experiments with us, like, let's lock the entire site down 24 hours before Black Friday launch. Like, no, like it's just a black screen going, come back here and then a countdown timer. And then at the bottom, you can put in a prompt like punch your VIP registration ID in here. And anyone that goes in there can get first dibs and everyone else has to wait. It just creates a different type of touch and feel for consumers that went, darn, I missed out this year. When we're thinking about that as an investment for next year, but that's how we try to get to those big numbers for launches or launch day.
Have you guys tried free plus shipping front end offers?
Yeah, we've tried like free plus shipping. We've got a few like very big giveaway, like the entire premise of the brand is giveaways. So we work with Yami Noob. He's a YouTuber, 1.2 million subscribers on YouTube, a motorcycle nerd. And the entire premise of the brand is any merch you buys you points, like sweepstakes, right? And then each month someone will get a bike built, right? So we tried free plus shipping. We've tried that type of a giveaway sweepstakes style. So many different permutations. And the crazy part is they all work in the right context, right? It's just almost which tactic for which context becomes the name of the game that we have to, that's the puzzle we kind of have to play with most of the time.
Anyone else tried any front end offers ahead of Black Friday? So self-liquidating offers, break-even offers?
I've seen something interesting the last 2 years when people were wanting to launch a new offer to an existing audience or even, you know, they had a smaller list, so to speak. They'd have a front end offer. They had a back end built out, of course, but they didn't have any social proof yet. So what they did is they said, here's our front end offer, $13, $17, whatever it is, right? But here's the premise. If you go through the course, the program, you use the service or whatever it is, leave us a review. The first 50 people to leave us a video testimonial will refund you 100%. So they built in, hey, I need to get on this. It's a pretty good offer. And he took a long time to make sure that it aligned properly with what his niche needed. But he did it 2 years in a row. New offer, similar back end, second year, new offer, similar back end, and just wanted to flood social proof as like a wall of video testimonials for his new offer. And so he's like, okay, cool. For the first 50, 100 people, whatever it is, I'm just going to refund them their money because now I have a ton of social proof and now I can go to work year round with an evergreen offer that people are going to convert all the way through the funnel. So it was pretty interesting to watch.
So considering offer versus non-offer. I don't know if you guys are working with any clients or on your own stuff where you're going to just opt out. Like, what scenario do you decide within, I'm going to run an offer versus I'm just going to watch from the sidelines?
I will say the majority of mine are opting out. And I think it's for a few reasons. I think a lot of them are small business owners or solopreneurs, and I think they just find it really overwhelming to just get prepared for this. They feel like this is surmountable mountain that they've had to be priming and getting ready for weeks in advance. So they just think, oh, what's the point? I've come into this too late. I think the second reason, as we've already touched upon, is they can't find the angle that feels good for them, feels good for their current customers without jeopardizing or cannibalizing or essentially upsetting people. And I think the third reason is that a lot of these people sometimes as well are used to playing at the roulette table of paid ads that happens at this time of year. So those kind of numbers, those kind of figures, those kind of benchmarks are just like, whoa! they just kind of find it just too much and it's too risky. So I've been saying to all of my customers or all my clients and just anyone that's kind of like on my list or anything, like, just use it as a time to just do something. Like, don't miss the opportunity to strike whilst the iron's hot, whilst the whole population, literally in majority of countries, the whole population is in some kind of buying mode, some kind of deal mode, some kind of I've got to go out and find something, consumer mode. So don't miss that opportunity, even if it is just to grow your list or just whack more money into your SLO so that you can benefit for that later on this year, early next year when you do a big launch or whatever you're doing. So the majority of mine are opting out, but I'm still encouraging them to do something rather than just sitting on their backside and doing nothing and missing it.
Anyone else?
I'm in the same boat with Jackie. If you're coming to me 2 weeks out and saying, what are we doing for Black Friday? We're not doing what you want to do. We'll look at some type of simple offer that can convert across board, and we'll run it. Because I mean, if you have an email list, you might as well monetize it. Yeah. If you're gonna opt out of paid ads, that's fine, but we can still do something where we can get you on the organic side and also on the email side, to get you some type of momentum going. So it's not a time to really just sit out. You still have that email list, and there's really creative ways you can go. We're actually testing a new one this year, to really stand out and get that reminder out there when we launch our offers. So, and I can speak on that too, but yeah, it depends. Like, if you have big businesses that have teams, you should be planning starting in August. If you're little, it might be a little bit difficult. We start with something simple and we build on that each year. So,
the people that I work with, all of us are content heavy. With not everybody running is high a scale of paid ads as of course Dee and Deepesh, but I put the talk out because Deepesh, you taught me long ago that Facebook is a customer acquisition platform, not just a sales platform. And that was like a big thing, especially when we were in Vancouver, when you were going through everything. That was something that you just drilled and drilled and drilled. And so I put the talk out in like July. I was like, hey, this is what it's really going to take. If this is your game, this is what we need to talk about. If not, what can you do otherwise? And here's two things. If you have an email list because you've been acquiring customers all year, maybe you don't run an offer. But why can't you run a sponsorship for Black Friday? People forget, if you have an email list, you've created advertising space. Why aren't you selling that? I don't want to run an offer, but you know what? I'll let you run it to my list the entirety of November for this much. Pick your number, right? The other thing is a lot of my folks started what I call one step before purchase advertising. And this is just a different thing. And this is Deepesh. This is my mad content brain. Moving away from Facebook ads. Facebook ads are interruptive advertising. Google ads are intent-based advertising. What's stopping you? Because on Google ads, you only pay if they click. I can reach 1 million people. If nobody clicks, I'm not paying. What's stopping you from finding the long tail phrases, answer the public, keywords everywhere, with decent search volume, and putting those across horizontal scaled Google ads campaign just sitting out there? I need this question answered before I can buy. If they've already got knowledge of their problem and they're like working on figuring out the consideration phase, they're asking that question on Google before any of the product facing ads are relevant to them. And guess what? Those ads, if you look at costs for those long tail phrases, are 10 to 20 times as an X multiple less expensive than product focused keywords, branded advertising, like all of that stuff. People that are trying to advertise to get like a Google shopping ad or a product facing ad or something like that, one step before, they're not so far down on the awareness hierarchy that it's irrelevant. Why not catch them early? Easy to get people into an email list that way, easy to get people into a community, a front end offer, blah, 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 blah. And you can just have them sitting out there. I've had stores where I have like just 50 Google ads campaigns just sitting out there, going to like 3 or 4 or 5 different blog articles that lead into a front end offer. If they click, they have intent. They just want a question answered. Why aren't you answering that question? That's an easy way to gain a huge amount of people while everybody else is busy in the other pool.
Such a good point. So one of the things I wanted to touch on was buyer psychology and kind of how we figure out who's in the market and what they're after. So I'm gonna illustrate what Stephen just mentioned there. Hopefully you can see my doodle board here. But one of the key things, and thinking about, we're in November now, but this is something ideally you'd be planning on further up, is you've got different states of people. And I love referring back to Eugene Schwartz and problem aware, solution aware, and product aware, which are the 3 main areas I would be focusing on for Black Friday. One of the really, really important things that you mentioned, Stephen, is there are still lots of people that are problem aware that are not necessarily aware there's a solution. A lot of people that are solution aware that are not yet at the stage of product aware. And your CPM costs are going to be higher there and they're going to be lower there. So when you're thinking about a multiple ad strategy, content strategy, things like that, if someone's product aware, so they're now, especially with Black Friday, a lot of people that are going to be buying up the offers, majority are here, right? So they've done their research, they're just looking for an offer here, and then down here is the kind of most aware level, and that's kind of your retargeting ads. But most of the Black Friday activity happens here. So when people say, my Black Friday ad campaigns are so expensive and I hate Black Friday and all that kind of stuff, I would argue 99% of those people literally enter Black Friday here and they have like some kind of offer, product-based offer, promotion, % off, whatever it is. And they're trying to compete in the market where they're now introducing their ads and saying, hey, I've got this product, think you'd be interested in it. They are interested in it, but they've also been seeing other ads from other people when they were at the solution aware stage. So what Stephen's actually mentioned here is you can go further up, start running Google ads up here on people that are in the long tail search stage. So, for anyone that doesn't understand that, when you're looking for a specific product, and it's not always a long tail, if you're looking for something here, and let's say now you're at the product aware stage, you're now looking at brands. So you might say Samsung TV, 42-inch, I don't know, whatever the thing is, you're product aware. Whereas here, you're like, I want a smart TV. That might be all it is. That's probably an expensive keyword. But the idea is that higher up, they're not looking for a product. They're looking for a solution. Here, they might have a problem. My TV's broken down. So, for example, there will be a lot of articles, listicles, guides, and things like that for, hey, if your TV's broken, here's things you can do to fix it. And by the way, if you can't fix it, here's what you can do as well. So I'm interested to hear from the panel. I can't actually see you right now because I'm sharing my screen. How are you handling these
leave
different
the screen
states?
shared? Leave the diagram up. Leave that up because that's awesome. All right, here's how you deal with this. That's perfect. Leave it right there for us. So people that are problem aware, my TV is broken. You have to understand, no matter what your product is, it's a bridge between where they are right now, their state of existence, their problem state, and the ideal version of the life they want. My TV is fixed. It's amazing. I have a better TV, et cetera, et cetera. Your product is the bridge. You've studied any amount of copywriting, you know what that is. So here's what you're dealing with. When people want to get to the outcome, okay, they're either going to have to make the effort themselves, or they want to pay their money to get to the outcome. They want to use their money to fast forward. So just like Deepesh just said, when they're problem aware, subconsciously, when they attach to move down that funnel and say, wait a minute, that's a solution that might apply to me. It's not just about how well your article or your suggestion or even your product might solve the problem. It's how well does this source, how well do I feel like they understand me? How well do they really resonate with my problem? Do they understand what I'm going through? Because the deeper you can get into that, the less sales resistance you get. And then when it's solution time, when they become solution aware and they're weighing you across different people, or different brands, it's not just about the deal. It's about, okay, if I'm going to spend money to get to the outcome, I've already decided I'm not going to do it myself. How convenient is the implementation to get to my outcome? And am I getting the most value for my money? And that's how they narrow it down to start searching for certain products and start becoming product loyal. So those are the things you need to address at each of those stages, as far as what I've always found and always had success with.
Any other builds on that? It was really, really good, Stephen.
I've got a couple of extra points to add to this. And again, I apologize if this isn't super relevant for the e-com space, but it's 100% relevant for the service-based education space. When I think I do a lot of this work as my onboarding with clients, when I sit with them and I talk about their ideal customer and I talk about exactly where they are in this journey and kind of all the different versions of them, the other thing I ask them is, what are their belief brick walls? So what are the brick walls that they have to blast through, or you have to help them blast through, so that they are in a position where they are then happy and willing and able to buy? So I always use the diet niche because it's rife with brick walls, right? If you're trying to sell a new diet to a 45-year-old woman who has been on the diet bandwagon since her early 20s, trust me, she's got a gazillion brick walls. You just can't come up with, oh, it's the best, or it's the newest, or it's so-and-so celebrity likes it. Like, they've been there, done that. They've gone around the block a gazillion times. You have to showcase that your methodology or your process, and Todd Brown talks a lot about this, your unique mechanism is superior to the other options out there. And I always say to people, just think of yourself like a prosecutor, like you're just arguing a case, that you're trying to just convince people to see your perspective in a different point of view. And again, this may not play so much of a bigger part in e-com. I think it absolutely does have a part to play in the online course space. It's huge. But also, back to the point of what we're talking about in Black Friday, Cyber Monday, this again could be the additional work that you can do in the lead up, blasting through some of those brick walls. So then when you present the offer, they're not then going like, oh, will this work for me? They already know. They're already convinced, they're chomping at the bit, they're waiting. And so I often talk about what are their belief brick walls, and don't just give me above the iceberg versions of they're overwhelmed. Like, give me actually, what are they thinking? And what's the conversation that's happening in their head right now? How do we enter that? And how do we sort of, like Moses, part through the seas of all the stupid noise that's out there that's just blah, blah, vanilla, and actually get to the crux of it? And I think often when you think about their brick walls, that's a way to do that. So I could talk about that for hours, but I'm going to stop there.
Well, I think it does apply to products as well, because the other thing is, if a Black Friday deal comes in, a lot of the people that you'll end up converting may have been thinking about the product, but they didn't want to necessarily buy right now. And sometimes overcoming a belief brick wall comes down to money. Like, you're going to save 50% if you buy this product right now, and then you reverse the risk by saying, hey, we've got a 30-day money back guarantee. So there are ways around that where people may need a bit more convincing, but sometimes it's almost like, we're going to give you a chance to try it. You've got the 30-day return, and we're giving you a discount to give you no choice but to take action right now as well. The other side of it is, and I've done some kind of work on researching this with clients over the years, the type of people that come in on offers are not always your ideal customer. They're not always the ideal prospect. So one of the studies we did years ago was looking at the lifetime value of a Black Friday customer versus a non-Black Friday customer. You may or may not know or guess, but the non-Black Friday customer often has a higher lifetime value. So it's just something which is worth considering when you think about your offers and how you're bringing people in, and what the long-term impact is. I don't know if anyone's got any other experience of that, but it's kind of just thinking about lifetime value versus, cost per acquisition in the short term.
So I want to just touch on this. We actually use this in businesses just in general, not just during promotional periods. Like you said, when you're product aware, it's a lot more pricier. So when we look at a business, we look at, if they're doing Google, we pull out what are people searching, and we figure out what are the top problems that they're searching for, and we build content around that. We build so when we run the ad, that's what they're gonna get. They're gonna search their problem, and they're gonna get exactly those keywords that they were searching for, because that will help them get in their head, you are talking back to what they were looking for. As far as running on social media like Facebook, you have to make them aware. So right now I have a client, we have 2 different audiences that we're working with. I split and I said, you have a huge audience here that's not aware, and we can make them aware through social media. And it might be a little pricey, but what's going to happen is once they're aware, they're going to go search that term on Google. And when they search the term on Google, they're going to get your paid running ads and content through Google. They're going to come into there, and it builds that trust, that credibility. And it kind of just starts that wheel turning of okay, maybe this product is for me. But it's not really a separate entity. It's thinking, how do we move them from the product aware to okay, well, how does this product solve my problem? They go to their problem, they go to solution, and they come back to the product. So it's like a cycle, and we use it a lot, especially with email, because most people are not going to buy your product right away. That's why we put in those, opt-ins to hey, we want to talk to you, sign up, and then we nurture them through these long sequences of let's talk. What is your problem? Tell us more so that we can serve you more of what you need to help you get there. So it's a whole entire system that can't be separated.
Absolutely. Dee, any additional thoughts?
The primary heuristic that we use, keeping in mind that we work with everyone from fashion apparel through to hardware, and also skincare, and let's call it discretionary goods versus problem-solving products, right? And the primary heuristic we use at the baseline has a lot to do with the AOV, or the price of the product as well. So naturally, the higher the price point, the longer the consideration period is a really simple heuristic to plug in there, right? And to that point, to come back to what you're saying around the fact that with a consumer that comes and touches your brand, or with a prospect that turns into a customer during a promotional period, there is some correlation with the fact that they do not have as high of an LTV compared to a consumer that comes in at a regular time. And especially if you would know with fashion, for example, there are certain brands that just have promotions at a regular cadence throughout the year. So I think there's a lot of that context that we then plug into place with our brands too, to go, well, if your brand is promotion based, every time there's a new season coming in, you drop the new product and that's going to be full price, but you got to clear out stock as well. So then how do you maximize profit and maximize cash flow using that model? That's one way to think about it. And to pull it back to the whole problem solving thing, I would highly recommend from a social creative standpoint, everyone go onto TikTok and search for this one brand called Smell My Load. Yeah, I know. I swear, I didn't make that up. Smell My Load. And it's this kid that just created a brand of dryer sheets that you throw into the dryer. Like in Australia, it's not even a thing. They don't even know what dryer sheets are. Anyway, so there's this one ad that he runs, and it came from organic. And it's pretty much him going, have you noticed that dryer sheets, and I'm paraphrasing here, it's shot quite well structurally from a paid social video standpoint. The premise being, do you notice that like dryer sheets always smell like fluffy babies or like very girly scents, right? I really wanted mine to smell like sandalwood I wanted to smell like a classical man. So that video took you from, wait, I don't have any problem with my dryer sheets, to going, wait, yeah, I do. You're right. And then he moves you across and inserts the founder story too, and goes, well, I couldn't find any when I went to my local supermarket, so I went to go create my own. And he shows you footage of like being at the warehouse, talking to the manufacturer. And at the very end of it, he just shows you, I guess, an image of what his home looks like now to evoke that, him smelling like I don't know, like a classical man, whatever the heck that means. And then no CTA or sell. That's it. And we at the agency, we tore that piece of creative down for like one workshop to go, how many more of these are there where you can take someone across that entire journey and get the consumer to go, holy heck, you're right. Yeah, this is a thing. And almost make it on the spot. And because of dryer sheets, it's not a high consideration product either. Right. So, and then I would imagine, I don't know if he has a subscription program, but I hope the kid does, because that'd make a ton of sense.
It reminds me of the Old Spice ads, which were just so over the top, but they're so good as well, that just illustrate the point of you want to be a man, then you need to smell like a man. You get all these crazy things happen to you as well. And I think that's such a great hook just to make it memorable. Any other ideas on creative hooks? Because I know that's another big challenge, is just standing out, whatever platform you're on, TikTok, Facebook, or whatever. Any particular tips you guys have?
Don't be afraid to take a contrarian take. A lot of people, like what Dee was just talking about, that's a contrarian take. Yeah, dryer sheets, but you don't smell like a man. Wait a minute. There was nothing wrong with dryer sheets. Oh, wait, now there's something wrong with it. So this is a play from like the content side that I started incorporating into paid ads. People have a higher emotional response to negative emotion, much, much higher. So doesn't mean you have to be negative all the way through. But if you take a common belief or a common solution or a common whatever, and you can find a way to flip it as your hook, you got them. Easy, easy.
Yeah, and the whole thing there is like polarizing and creating an us versus them as well. That's such a huge hook.
I think as well, a lot of people, again, general consumers in Black Friday, Cyber Monday, are either searching for or on a dopamine ride. So I would use that to your advantage. So be humorous if appropriate. Be sarcastic, use whatever you need to use to increase the dopamine that's already there, that they're already searching for. So, I mean, I find that works throughout the year, but probably especially more so at this time of year.
A great example that I can think of people that take humorous or take a spicy take or something that makes you kind of cock your head to the side a little bit. Great examples for anyone watching this who wants to look it up would be, if you guys know the brand Cards Against Humanity. If you Google Cards Against Humanity Black Friday, they send you to this one lander where they're just selling the most random things. You can buy a scuba gear air tank for like a certain amount of money, and you just keep scrolling and they're just selling random stuff. It's a really funny take.
It's like a trip down AliExpress.
Right, exactly. But branded against Cards Against Humanity. And another really great one, I think, to look at as someone who we always talk about, we always try to convince our brand founders to let their hair down a little bit, as opposed to stick really strictly to brand guidelines. Liquid Death, they sell canned water. And if you look at most of their campaigns, I mean, we covered one in one of our recent podcasts. It's the video was, the title is a YouTube video. Would you rather drink Liquid Death or lick the back sweat off of a fat guy?
I saw that one where they licked he licked
right.
the sweat.
Yeah, it's so un-PC, you know? Like, you look at that, you go, oh my God, I can't believe a brand is putting their neck out there that way. It can sometimes go wrong, but just to get into that frame of mind and just write it down, because like I tell my team all the time, if it's written down and you haven't produced it, it's free. You can just crumple it up and throw it away, but get yourself into that frame of mind. It's a fun exercise too. And you find the right one, it starts to print money. And we like printing money. That's why we're all in business in the first place, right?
And then you can go to Midjourney and create some images that basically fit that description of licking sweat off of someone's back or whatever.
Totally.
On that note, are you guys using anything AI related for your Black Friday planning, campaigns, ideas?
The only AI tool I use around that is something called Motion. It's like an AI type calendar. Mega ADHD. So if I just put in my tasks and block out where I can't do anything, it moves them around nicely. So when I get in, I'm like, okay, here's the deadline when all of it has to be done. Just follow that. It keeps me from getting lost. That's the easiest way. And I've done that with project planning too, because you can put in the paid version, you can put multiple projects in. And I say, okay, if I'm launching a new store, here's my checklist for the new store. I'm terrible with like time blindness. So if I have that, I can say I need it done by this time, and it will parse it out over the days. So I get everything done without stressing out about it. That's been a big help, because we all know all the work getting into Black Friday. I set that thing up way back in the beginning of August, and I was like, okay, I need this part done by this time, this part done by this time. And that way I know I'm getting through it without having to keep it top of mind or having anxiety about it.
Cool.
We generate a lot of headlines through like ChatGPT and other AI tools, just because there's a burnout at this time of year, and it just helps like having that library to sift through and change out and test through, like how to stand, what would get you more opens in like an inbox or something like that, or what would, make the landing page stick out with a better headline. So just having like a Rolodex of headlines, subject lines that we can like sift through, maybe change around, but it helps with like the whole, the planning fatigue that Jackie was talking about. It's exhausting during this time of year, so it's helpful there.
Yeah. Jackie, Dee, any AI assistance or human manpower?
I'm nothing out of the nothing unusual. So all the usual ones, I'm afraid to say, and of course Depeche AI, of course.
Of course.
Because it's got my own voice in it, that's why.
Absolutely. And actually, if anyone's used it, like, you may not know Jackie, but I feel it matches your humor, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, dry, sarcastic, just like I've stepped out of Blackadder. Yeah, that's basically it. I'm British.
That's so good. Not specifically for Black Friday, but I think ever since that wave of AI tools started showing up, we made it an agency mandate for everyone to get like at least knee deep, if not waist to neck deep, in testing out different tools. Motion app, we're on top of. We were using that. We're using a lot of GPT just to maximize the per human output. The mid journeys as well as the runway MLs. I'm very excited about. I don't know if you guys know this, but Meta now has a make a video. It's in the Skunk Labs currently, but if you Google Meta make a video, it's currently still in beta, and I think it's invite only. But it's going to be soon where you can do text to video within the Meta platform, which is it's still at the rudimentary stages. I think if you go onto the website, it's like a flying dog or like a like cartoony still a little bit. But yeah, I think text to video is really going to start changing the game from a per human output standpoint. And what's really crazy to me is AI generated video that is photorealistic at a human level, not only the product level. I think it's coming really, really soon, and that thing is scary. I don't know if you guys see the deep fake Tom Cruises or the deep fake Keanu's or the Vicky Veranos. That one's not as famous. So if you just make sure you don't go to that Twitter page with the kids around. Vicky Verano on Twitter, Vicki, I think. That person that speaks to camera and talks about her little bikini and does a little bit of a side to side, apparently the way that she looks and the shape of her body, completely AI generated. I think they still have a human doing the voice talking, maybe, and just as a something for the image to peg against where arms are and where the bust and the torso is. But everything else is AI generated, so it's coming really, really soon. And as an agency, those are a lot of things that we have as manual labor now. So we want to be ahead of the game to make sure that we just don't have a whole bunch of redundant jobs in 18 months, 24 months time.
So one of the things that Stephen introduced me to was a tool called Bonjoro. So with Bonjoro, you can send a video post-purchase, which is great for e-com and stuff like that. I actually ran a test. I don't know if it was last year or the year before. I think it was last year. I took 100 new members coming into Ad Signals, which is my paid ads community, and I served them a personalized 60-second video. So literally, the sale would come through, or my phone would be the alert, and I just do a quick welcome video. It's the same video time and time again. And then I also didn't do it for the next 100. And we actually saw, I think it was like a 30% increase in lifetime value from those that had the personalized video. And it was always in my mind, like, how do you scale something like this? If you're looking to scale something like this, there's a tool called Maverick.ai. And what that does is you shoot one video, and it can change your mouth and also the words you're saying, customized based on whatever you want. So for example, I could shoot now one video, hey, welcome to Ad Signals, hey, Jackie, or whatever it is. It will replace that word with whatever name I want. And you can put placeholders everywhere. So then you can start to use your CRM and stuff like that. I record it once, customer gets a one-to-one personalized welcome email. Now just think about whether you're selling a service or a product, the scalability of something like that. That's like, and it's just fascinating to see how you can start to insert those things even now. Like you've got a Black Friday thing coming in. We talk about lower lifetime values. Put a personalized video in there to see what happens.
Yeah, we're going to be testing that for any of our lead magnets. So you download it, we ask you for your phone number, and then we send you a video of me just being like, hey, Depeche, hey, Stally, hey, whoever. I'm super excited about that. It's going to be so fun.
And by the way, if you're collecting telephone numbers, there's a service that can drop a voicemail. So it'll give someone a missed call and then drop a voicemail. And you can send an automated AI voice of your own with the text, whatever you want, and it'll just pump out all these voicemail messages as if you're sending it for yourself as the founder or whoever it is as well. It's crazy. Wow. The future is about scalability. I just saw there was I think it was Sephora in the US. They literally fired their customer service team, call center team, completely, like 200, 300 people fired because AI has taken it over. If you call Sephora, AI is handling it all. Like, that's crazy. Just thinking about where things are going right now. And guess what? Those 300 people are probably going to now search online, how do I start my own e-commerce store? How do I start my own agency or whatever it is as well? It's just, yeah. And by the way, agencies and e-commerce stores, I think who was it? I can't remember. There's someone that's launched an automation for Shopify, and a lot of the things can be automated now, even where your upsells and cross sells go. Even if you think about a product category page and how you list which products go at the top, AI will handle that. It knows what your sell-through rate is, how much stock you've got, which ones you want to promote more than others. It's like the whole inventory management, offer management, all that kind of stuff is just going to be taken off people's hands as well. I think I've shocked everyone on that. Stephen, did you want to answer that question? I don't know.
Yeah, no, I if I need to answer it in the chat, that's fine. If you want to answer it here, that's fine too.
Yeah, you can answer it here. So Jordan was asking a question on email.
Okay, so he wants to know, how would I nurture an email list for an info product? What would the funnel look like? And would it differ from a low-end front-end offer like $50 versus a higher front-end offer like $250? Okay, Short version is the more people are going to pay, the more of a done for you or proximity to the expert experience they're going to need. Simple as that. So let's say I have an info product that's a $2,000 back end. Work at the end and move my way back down to the beginning. Okay. What I want to do, I have like 10 prompts. I have it over on my other desk over there, where I can come up with things that already have demand in my niche already. Like, what are things on their task list that they're just putting off that I could do a quick workshop for them, or a quick email or a quick video or something, and say, here you go. Now the problem's solved. Can I find 5 or 6 of those? Right? Like I mentioned earlier in the call, I did the Black Friday templates for everybody. How many people hate writing content? Even with AI, I don't know what it's supposed to say. What do I do? Templates. If you buy in, as a monthly membership, as an example, right? I'm going to email you every week with a template. Here's the explainer video. Here's the outline. Here's the whole thing. This is what you got to do. Rip it up. You put it on Facebook. Here's what you do for Instagram. Here's some suggestions for how graphics should work. If you want to go to Canva and add those. Easy. Takes me an hour a week to make. From there, I also have mini workshops, because we all know if you get somebody live, they're going to convert way, way, way more. Okay. I schedule 9 mini workshops a quarter because I give myself 1 week a month for free. And then I rotate them. And I started with 55 ideas, narrowed them down to 9 that I know these people are crazy about. Okay. Guess what? You start on the templates or you come into the workshop. I'm going to point you to the other ones. But if you buy into a year of the templates, you get the workshops for free. It's all part of it. Okay. How much intent does that show me now for my back end offer? Whoa. Now, just like we've talked about, can I run Facebook ads to my super low templated offer? Those always sell well. Always. Right? But because I know my conversion rates to the other pieces, so like Dee mentioned earlier, I know I have leg room in my customer acquisition costs. I know I have leg room, so I can overspend up front and say, okay, cool. The economics work. No big deal. Because let's say I bring on 100 people into my teeny tiny front end offer. If I break even, great, whatever. Because I know the upsells are going to take care of it. What I'm really doing is I have things arranged to where those 100 people that come in the door, they're going to bring in 3 or 4 or 5 people that I know are going to hit the back end offer and convert within 30 days. No problem. So it's like I'm not even having to worry about using my own money at scale, because that's how my offer ladder is set up. Start with what can you do? Because when people aren't spending money, they have to spend effort. What can you do to alleviate effort? What's nagging? What's annoying? What can you give them a win with that they don't have to do a ton of work? Okay, let me do that. Then, hey, if you want to buy a little more of this, or if you want to get a guided workshop or build your own dashboard or this or that, something that they can use over and over again. That's usually what workshops are great for, not just a one-off, but can I use this over and over again? Yeah, because now you've got a time investment, but it's leveraged. Okay, great. And that means every time they touch either a template or that thing they built in your workshop, they're touching the feeling of satisfaction they have with you on your deliverable. And those are easy to make. And all of that just builds that pressure in them to say, man, okay, if I've got big problems, right? Like you mentioned earlier, well, if Black Friday didn't work out, maybe we need to talk a little deeper. Whoa. So I would start with Facebook ads like that to low dollar lead magnets. I don't like to do free lead magnets because even something that's like $4 or $5 gets you a much better list of buyers. Much, much, much better. You would be amazed. Amazed. You're still going to get the same number of conversions. You might even get more And for service providers, I've seen people say, okay, if we're going to do a discovery call, the free 15-minute call or whatever it is, because they're a real good candidate, even if they're a warm list, say, no, you're going to spend $5 to book the spot on the call. Because then you're going to have your ass here. Right? So if you have a front end offer, think, what do people spend that they're not going to miss? Or as a nice self-indulgence. There's a price barrier there, depending on the niche that you have, right? So maybe it's $50, maybe it's $250, whatever it is. That's fine. But then beyond that, the economics have to work out. And like Dee and Deepesh were talking about, you have to know your LTV and your conversions from one point to the next. So what I do is I'm going to nurture them in my email list. I've never not run a Facebook community around an info offer as well. I always have both of those moving because people like to be touched. They like to have proximity to you, because just like all of us in ad signals here, it's not just that Deepesh, like I've been part of it since he was drafting the BPM method way back, right? It's not just that it's good information. It's how Deepesh can explain things. If we want to ask him a question, we know we can get him on it. If you have an info product, you're part of that. And the more you can put something in their hands to touch you and be reminded of how they feel with your deliverable, the more you're going to ascend people to the back end. That's why I said templates are easy. And if you do a workshop, make it something they can use over and over and over again and immediately have that rush. Okay, that was money well spent. It's probably going to be money well spent if I do something else with this person. That's the easiest way. Now, that's how I also build a list of buyers. That's the second part of the question there. And then how often do I email list? 4 and 1, period. Even if it's a newsletter and I don't have them on a buying list yet, welcome sequence is 4 emails long. After that, they get it once a week. But how I set up my welcome sequence is, hey, here's who I am. Here's what I'm about, right? Oh God, I have it written down. The second one is a little more about what I do. The third one, this is where you're going to start seeing some fall off. What you should expect. As a newsletter, you're going to see free resources and paid resources, so you put that in their mind. And then the fourth email, you reiterate your big why it matters. Why are you doing this, right? Like, I have a lot of clients that they start on the content train with me, but it turned into I have to help them fill some of the gaps to really make a properly systematic running business where they could work with an agency owner. Because if as an agency owner, if they want to run Facebook ads with you and you're like, okay, do you have your last, say, 180 days of LTV information, or what's your average order value? And they just go, what's your list look like? You're going to go, okay, let me get all that prepared for you, because you need all that before you scale. Okay, cool. Great. And so when we do that kind of thing, you can create a lot of magic for a lot of people. Does that make sense? So that's how I keep a list of buyers, because freebie seekers only want for free. It's like, I heard this term a while back. There's a conversion ceiling. If you understand what that is, say there's 40% of the market that's never going to buy from you, even if you gave it to them for free and delivered it with white gloves. Cool. The rest of that pool is your 100%. 10% of people are dollar store shoppers. They don't really care what the product is. They just want it for as cheap as possible, but they also complain the loudest. And so they seem like they're overrepresented because they just, and you see that a lot in the Amazon space, because I used to do a lot of work in the Amazon space, and everybody's like, oh my gosh. I'm like, no, that's 10% of the market. Don't lower your price. Let them race to the bottom. Let them have them. And then you have another 10% at the very top. I want to spend the most because I'm insecure about getting something I know is going to last. I said, just give me the best thing there is. And then you have the other 80% of the market. And the other 80% of the market, you would think, do I want to be in the middle? No. Whatever the middle of the market price is for a similar solution, they want to be about 65%, because they want to spend enough and also not spend enough. They want to feel like they got enough for their money, but that it's also going to last and they didn't buy a piece of junk. Easy stuff to start playing with. So I'd rather have a list of buyers than dollar store freebie shoppers. And when I did that, and I took that actually after the Vancouver thing, because Deepesh, like what I said earlier, you were talking about it's a customer acquisition machine. Okay. And like with D, part of the thing I picked up from being in the Right Hook group years ago was you need to plan out your conversion cycles and your cash conversion cycles so you know how much you can spend up front. Because when it all comes down to it, it's some of it's tactics, but it's really who can pay the most to get the customer. And so instead of trying to only lower your cost per acquisition, it's what can I plan in my offer arsenal? What can I do with other avenues to increase the amount I have as far as front-end runway? That's an easy way to scale and navigate the ups and downs like you big boys do.
That's awesome. Lots to break down there. And by the way, we'll share the transcript with the video as well, because I think there's so much gold to be taken out just from the last hour and a half. Last few minutes left. What I'm keen to know from you guys now, just to kind of wrap it up, is what you're thinking about post Black Friday. Like, what's the key things on your mind and what you're planning for? So we'll go through top to bottom on my screen. So Israa, you can go first.
Post Black Friday, the thing we focus on is keeping that revenue up. A lot of people talk about, promotion fatigue or people are done shopping, but that's not really true. We focus on gift cards. We focus on Christmas is a big day of for us, like revenue wise, and that people always skip for some reason. You're home, you're stuck with your family, everybody's on their phone. It's a great day to like do a 24-hour sale. And then we also focus on moving inventory, clearing out what needs to be cleared out. Doing that week between Christmas and New Year's as a big inventory clearance event. But we actually plan that before Black Friday because we want to make sure we know our margins are going to fit, whatever offer we give them at that time. But that helps keep, December turning for us, and it helps, keep that revenue up during that month so that you're not falling flat and then, starting January and you're panicking all over again. So it's what we, it's not a Black Friday for us. It's really from August to end of December promotional period. And this is why it's a burnout period, but it doesn't stop at Black Friday, Cyber Monday. It just keeps going for us all the way till the end of the year and even like into January, but that's another topic. So I'm not going to go into that.
Cool. Good stuff. Jackie, over to you.
So similar. I think I also, if any of my clients did run a Black Friday promotion, is we do a deep dive, as everyone should do. What worked, what didn't work, why didn't it work, what was going on, and also pay attention to what's happening with your competitors or even other solutions that aren't direct competitors. Like, what are they promoting? Like, don't just be in your bubble at this time. Even if you're not running a promotion, look at what they're doing, analyze. I mean, you'll never know how well they worked, but you could probably take a guess by social proof or kind of just generally by looking at it and going, that was a good ad or that was a good promotion. So I think use this time for further growth, further analytics, further market research, and also just priming again, because a lot of my clients do a lot of big things in January. So we're just planting the runway, planting the priming runway ready for January. So that's what we focus on.
Cool. Stephen.
To piggyback on what Jackie said, deep dive on analytics. So whatever kind of angles I took, what really worked? Like, you almost want to think about it like some people will in the content game will do what I call headline arbitrage, where they'll shoot the same 4 videos, but they change the first 10 seconds of each of them and post all of them like just a few days or a week apart and see which one is going to bring the biggest one. And we do that a lot of times with our ads as well. But okay, it's not just the creative. What about the creative and the angle made this happen? And to Dee's point, after Black Friday, we can really look at, okay, what channels were they coming in from? Was it this Facebook ad over here? Or was it a Google ad where the intent is much clearer? right? But how did that convert up the chain? Because that's going to tell us, where do I need to double down on my angles? Have the needs of my niche subtly changed and I missed something? Do we have an opportunity to reposition and recapitalize? Maybe we missed something. And so by just doing those analytics like that, you could take something you already have, and like Jackie and Israa said, and say, okay, I can re-offer something, or I can offer a more polished version or a piece of something I was doing for Black Friday to the people that didn't buy for Black Friday, either later on in Q4 or in the beginning of Q1, as a way to keep things moving. And that's something that I've seen a lot. A lot of people, like especially in the course space, guilty. There's a Black Friday offer on a course I've been looking at, and it's a high dollar thing. Yeah, I'll do that. But then what happens is I've talked to a few of those course creators, and they kind of get stuck because they have one offer. And you guys have probably dealt with this, scaling ads like that. Okay, everybody who bought on Black Friday, can you look at the analytics and see maybe where they're falling off or where they're having trouble, and make a special mini version to launch to the people that didn't buy in the beginning of Q1? Because then in Q2, anybody who bought that smaller product gets the discount to ascend again. Slow time of year for a lot of those people. Easy win.
Cool stuff. Dee.
Post Black Friday is all about mainly two things. Performing a retro on the Black Friday efforts. We fall into the trap of not doing retros enough, or at least having it as a fundamental part of the culture and part of the way that we work here. So doing a retro for sure. And that's mainly internal, but also just to cap that season off with the client, but very quickly transitioning. In fact, we do that. We do most of the planning just before we get into Black Friday. So it's a really busy time for the clients as well, because we're asking a lot of them to go, well, what is Q5 slump mitigation strategies looking like? Because I believe that we believe that Q5 slump is a limiting belief, mainly because of the fact that a lot of the brands come back and say, yeah, but Q5 sales really slow because like consumers are so tapped out. Sure, if you're a Samsung, I'll believe you. If you're selling at that scale, I believe you. At the amount of money that you need to make to get to that, just because of the scale that you're at, it's a very big ocean for you. What are the angles? What are the angles? When are their sale events? And even post Black Friday, the day itself, we also start looking at flash deals, just to make sure that we can do a lot of the stock clearance during that week as well, right? Because we start doing flash deals like, hey, we know it's after Black Friday, but wait, there's more. We extend the but wait, there's more to do that. But yeah, Q5 planning is usually the main thing. A lot of our projections when we present to clients during Q4, also as a client retention strategy, is to bundle in Q5 so that when the MER across October, November, December always look pretty nice. But we want to bundle that together with January, February when it doesn't look as nice, and then spit out the average and go, hey, wasn't that bad. In fact, we're hitting target. So there's a lot of that client retention psychology that has to come into play. And then as an agency, I don't know what it is about January. People do a few things. They swear they'll never drink again. They swear that they'll always go to the gym, and they swear that their previous agency sucked. So it's always that musical chairs that happens in January. We're on the receiving end of that on both ways. So we brace ourselves for that as well. Those are the main ticket items really for after Black Friday.
And related to that, one of our best case studies we launched January 2019 after we had an amazing Q4. So just for those of you in the services space, selling info and stuff like that, get your case studies ready. Because like Dee said, people will be looking for new strategies, new agencies, new partners, new freelancers, all that kind of stuff. So you need to be present for that as well.
Absolutely. That's our Black Friday, I think, for most people, and will help you improve your life space.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of guilt that comes with December that we can then get to capitalize on in January.
Totally. That's it. And it's relating to what Steven said, like that January period when people are looking for those things. what's something small and not massively expensive that you can give to them to give them a quick solution. So I know I'm working with a few clients right now on things like self audits and things like that. If it's a $29 self audit, go and self audit your Black Friday campaign, and here's a checklist, and we can help you figure out why it went wrong. And by the way, book a call and we'll help you come up with a new strategy, kind of thing. So there's just so many ways to slice that. And honestly, like, consumers are buying all year round, 365 days. Literally on Christmas Day, we've run promotions and still had a peak in sales, because every day now everyone's online. Like, and by the way, even we ran a campaign in Spain once and realized that Christmas isn't the big thing in Spain. It's Three Kings Days, or three Kings Day. So like, there's so many things going around the world that you need to be aware of. Every market has its own nuance as well. Cool. We're at the just over 90-minute mark. So first of all, thank you, Israa, Jackie, Stephen, and Dee as well. 4 people I'm grateful to know and to learn from as well. For those of you on the live, and also for the replay folk as well, just add your appreciation in the comments. That'd be awesome as well. If you want to follow Israa, Jackie, Stephen, or Dee, we'll post their links in the comments, and also I think in their profile in AdSignals. Hopefully you can go and sneak in on that and find some links and cool things to follow as well. Guys, thank you very much. We'll publish this out into AdSignals and onto YouTube with your permission as well. Hopefully that's good. But yeah, I've taken away some ideas as well. Hopefully everyone has, and hopefully everyone's going to crush Q4 and come into 2024 in an amazing space as well. So thank you, guys. Have a great day.
Thanks, Dipesh.
Thanks for having me.
See you later.
Nice meeting everyone. See you later.